So guys, welcome back to Words of Weather. Hope you guys had a nice summer, and I know I did, and a nice fall and stuff. And just like I promised last year, we can get right back into it this year. So for my first episode of Words of Weather, my second season, I didn't really know what to do. I was like, we haven't had any big storms over the summer. Nothing crazy has happened last year with like the blizzard and Sandy, and Irene the year before. So I said, might as well do a quick summer recap, a quick intro to fall, and then talk about what's coming up in my next, shows. So we'll start the summer recap. Well, this summer, this is called the Bermuda High, and this is what impacted us most of the summer this year. And what this basically does is this forces the winds, because winds around a high pressure system go clockwise, like this, and that's the high, that's the H. And basically what happens is the winds get pumped up from the water, what's called a MT, a maritime tropical air mass. Basically all it means is moist and hot. And obviously if it's water, it's going to be, moist, and it's warm, because it's in the summer, so it's coming off the warm waters. So that's why we saw a lot of temperatures in the 90s this summer. Even I think we hit 100 a few times in Hampton, which is not rare, but it's not something you see every year. And we even had dew points in the 70s, which is basically tropical air mass, like Hawaii tropical. That's how humid it was for several weeks on end this summer. And that all has to do with this right here, the Bermuda High. And that basically plays a huge role in, what type of summer it's going to be. If it's going to be a cool and wet or dry and moist and hot and everything, it's the Bermuda High. And wherever this sets up is where whoever gets by it will get the hot and humid air. And that's what we saw this summer. So what happened also this summer? Well, we had tornadoes in Connecticut. We actually had 4 tornado touchdowns this year. That's actually well above average, about the 1.2 average, which obviously you can't have, a 20th of a tornado, but that's just the average when you do the numbers. And this is one of the days, July 1st, right after school ended actually, since it ended so late because of all the snow and because of Sandy last year. There was 3 tornado touchdowns, although they were claiming it was the same tornado. Happened just outside of New York City, New Jersey, one in Fairfield County around Stamford, Fairfield, and then one again in like north of Hartford, like Simsbury and stuff. And they actually saw the EF1, and that caused some damage. And again, it's nothing crazy in Connecticut. We do get tornadoes in Connecticut, don't forget that. But to get 4 in one season, that's really impressive, although they were really weak and didn't really do any damage. And here's actually a picture of one of the tornadoes. It's kind of hard to see, but right in there, that's where the tornado is, and you can see the big cloud. And to actually see a funnel like that in Connecticut with a tornado is very rare, because 90% of the times you get tornadoes in Connecticut, they're called rain-wrapped tornadoes, which basically means the tornado is within the rain. And though you see the crazy wind and debris flying around, you really don't actually see the actual funnel. But in this amazing shot, this was the one actually in stores right outside of Yukon this summer. I think it was like mid-July, end of July. I'm pretty sure that's when it was. And you can actually see the funnel on that, and that's pretty amazing. So, well, last year, this time, exactly this date, I put my first article on WXEdge.com about the upcoming hurricane, Sandy. I don't think anyone can forget that. This year, this time, all boring, nothing to talk about in the tropics. We actually have a small tropical depression now out there. This is images from a few days ago before it formed, but not a threat to land. It's going to go way out to sea and nothing to talk about. But last year, this is the first time all the models have been showing a massive storm, which ended up being Superstorm Sandy, with just catastrophic damage between Category 2 winds, storm surge. It was just an insane storm. But luckily, at least this point this year, there's nothing to talk about. Not saying nothing will happen yet, but obviously it's been a very quiet hurricane season. And so far, this is what we want to see this time of year, nothing to talk about. But besides hurricanes, well, this is what's going to happen soon. So this is what the jet stream has been doing most of the fall. October is going to end up several degrees above average. You have an average temperature like 68 degrees for a high in October. The high right now should be around 60, and though it's getting there, it's still pretty mild. But what's been happening is this is the jet stream. Basically, the jet stream, again, I keep saying in my words as weather shows because it's a little confusing. It's basically a flow of air up in the atmosphere that moves weather from west to east across the United States or from left to right across your screen. And right now, the jet stream you can see the dip right there. Well, Connecticut's right here, so the dip kind of misses us. So you got some cold air in Chicago, and the upper Midwest and stuff like that. Connecticut is seeing cooler temperatures, but nothing crazy. And this is what's been the case all of the month, basically. Warm temperatures, sunny skies, not bad for fall, can't complain. But what's been happening now, and this is what we're actually under today, the end of October, is this big dip in the jet stream. Connecticut is not in the harsh cold air, but eventually it's going to get there. And this is all because the jet stream takes a huge dip. You have a huge low pressure or high pressure up here, forcing the tilt pattern. It's called the negative NAO, negative North Atlantic Oscillation. And this is basically the balance between the high and low pressures and where it sets up the jet stream. And because of this bend, this is forcing the cold up air into Connecticut, and that's why it's been so cold. And this jet stream doesn't want to move too much, though it's going to go back and forth. I think we're going to get temperatures either at or below average for much of the next few weeks, and that, could end up with snow, with rain. Everyone's been asking me. Well, the setup to get snow and rain is kind of hard around here because this is what you need. This is a classic setup. This is what happened with the October nor'easter 2 years ago and the November nor'easter last year. This is the low pressure system right here. The tighter the isobars, the more powerful the storm. So you can see how tightly wrapped it is in here. And this right here would spell to me a big nor'easter, probably a foot of snow for us. But basically what happens to happen is the low pressure has to draw in cold air or generate its own cold air if it's strong enough. And that doesn't seem likely right now. We missed out on a huge coastal storm a few weeks ago, which could have brought snow. But again, it passed well to the east of us and basically just kept the mild air in. But a few weeks, some things may get interesting. I'm not saying it's going to snow for sure, but there's some indications that the jet stream will take a dip. And with the big low pressure in the mid-heart of the country, there's a slight chance, I would say at this point, about the first week of October, maybe or November, the first few days, maybe after Halloween, that a storm may try to develop in one of these situations. Again, if it's to the east, it could be rain. To the west, snow. Right over us, it's called inland runner, which basically means we kind of just get maybe a little mix, but nothing crazy. But so we have to stay tuned and see what happens with the jet stream, because the jet stream is huge this time of year. And if the negative NAO sets up, anything's possible with snow, rain, sleet, a mix, even another November nor'easter. Well, hurricane season, it's almost over. We have just about a month and a week left. And what's been happening with it? Most people thought it was going to be the worst season ever. I thought it was going to be a bad season, and nothing really to talk about. But one of the least active seasons in history, and that's pretty upsetting. So in the future episodes, I'm going to go more in depth about hurricane season and why it was, well, even myself and the meteorologists were very wrong predicting this hurricane season. And we'll talk about why and what maybe will happen next year. And the moment everyone's been waiting for. Wait. The 2013-2014 winter forecast. In the next episode, or a few later, I'm going to do a huge in-depth look at what could happen this winter. It's really tricky this year because some people are saying mild, some are saying warm, cold and snowy. So I'm going to kind of do a wrap-up of, what the other, sites like Acura.com, Weather Channel, and my own website, or that I'm a part of, Weather Edge says. And basically a typical El Nino, to do a quick recap, will be a more mild winter. I'm not saying we're not going to have no snow, but I'm just saying it'll be more mild, a few shots of cold air, but nothing crazy, maybe a few snowstorms, but nothing to talk about. Now in a typical El Nino year, the jet stream will kind of dive like this, and this is how you can get your nor'easters and blizzards like last year to form. And these do fluctuate. It's not going to be like the exact same jet stream all winter. It's impossible to do that. But depending on when the sets up, it can be in for another active winter. So guys, hope you enjoyed my first episode of Words of Weather for the second season. Hope to be back in a few weeks to talk about hurricane season with meteorologist Quincy Vega from WXEdge.com and WTNash.com. He's a professional meteorologist, and we're going to talk about what happened since even us discussing it in our last episode last year thought I was going to be active, and obviously it wasn't. So for the first time of the 2013-2014 school year, I'm Zack Duhame, Words of Weather.